Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a magical cat. So, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, I've recorded this a couple times and I did not like the first take. And the second take, I kind of jumbled up my words a lot. But hey, I guess this is what happens when you do everything off script. So, in order to actually talk about the figure in question, I need to actually give up some lore as well as a little bit of backstory to explain Kamen Rider Nago fantasy form. As you guys were aware, I love Kamen Rider Nago. I claim her as my daughter because the way she was written, baby girl just wanted some love. She just wanted to feel accepted and feel safe with somebody that wasn't her family at the time because she always had issues with her family. It's the reason why she always tried to run away. But we're going to actually talk about the key features of how she got to this point. And so, as you're aware, during my Kamen Rider Mark II boost form for Geats, I talked about how the Yamato Grand Prix was actually a thing where Michinaga, aka Kamen Rider Buffa, had turned on everybody and worked with the Yamato because when he was killed, come to find out, he didn't actually die. The side effects of the buckles did something to him as well as did something to everybody else. Since he's a zombie, he became practically immortal. He'll take damage, but he won't die. What does this have to do with him? Well, during the Yamato Grand Prix, two major things happened. We find out Nago is not the child of her parents like we thought she was, and Michinaga won the game. Let's jump back to the Nago part. So, during her 18th birthday, she was actually caught off guard by the Yamato Grand Prix, where they decided, hey, we're going to get rid of all three fighters by using our own three fighters to go against them. And of course, there was some cheating involved too, as well as a secret that the admin for the Yamato Grand Prix found out using the power of the admin's driver that she stole in the previous story arc. Well, come to find out, she dug into the history of the DGP and found out that Kamen Rider Naga, aka Neon, is not who she claims to be, because she's actually a construct created by the goddess to replace their child. We all are aware of the situation. Naga was kidnapped by very, very heinous people because they were trying to get her family. Because remember, her family's rich and they also have ties to the DGP. Nobody knew about the DGP at the time, but still. But what we don't find out until that episode is the child actually didn't make it. So the producer decided, hey, we can restore your daughter, we can erase everybody's memory of the situation. The father said, no, I want a wish where I can create a new child with all the love that I can't give so she can become the head of the family. When that happened, Naga was created, and her mother's memory was erased of the situation. Naga didn't believe it. The whole DGP audience turned against her, and that, of course, pissed Geats off. He ended up winning his match. But after that, Neon went to go confront her mother about it, and found out all of it was true. Some other shenanigans happened. She ended up fighting, losing her faith in herself, but she did end up winning thanks to her benefactor coming to help her. But at the end, she dropped out of the Yamato Grand Prix because, let's be honest, after finding out that information, I wouldn't be okay either. Then we get over to the next part of it, where Michinaga wins. Tycoon is killed, and so is Ace and the producer. They use that to crown Michinaga as the champion. And his wish was to become the most powerful rider in existence. Then the DGP started back up to try to stop Michinaga. The problem is, no rider could touch him. The way his form was, it was basically his hyper form on steroids with new horns and a cape. Whatever damage they thought they could do, did nothing. It got to the point where he even went after the original admin who lost their driver. Gave it back to him just so he could beat him. Then some other shenanigans happens and Ace comes back. But however, Ace does not join the DGP side. In fact, he turns against them because this entire time, as you're aware, he's been trying to find out what happened to his mother. And he knows the DGP is involved. So he's like, until I get answers, everybody's on my list. So, during that time period, The benefactor of Tycoon approached his sister and gave her an opportunity. If you win, your brother will come back, and you can have whatever wish you want. But what they didn't know was the admin of the DG, well, before old girl gave the belt back, she actually had Tycoon stored with the Tycoon's benefactor. Well, Tycoon has been kind of secretive about it because he doesn't want his sister to be involved. But unfortunately, she is, and she became a rider. Then Nago, on the other hand, who has been living peacefully without the memories of everything that happened, ends up getting visited by Buffa, aka Michinaga, because come to find out, her two bodyguards actually were former members of the DGP. They got their memories back and they were fighters, but because of the shenanigans, they told her to get to safety and they would try to fight him off. When that happened, the admin for the JamVCR Grand Prix said, no, you haven't suffered enough, and forced her memories back to her head. So now Nago is back inside the games as Kamen Rider Nago again. But down the road, some more shenanigans happen, and Michinaga beats both Neon and Tycoon's sister. How he's been doing it, every time he beats a rider, he'll take their ID cores and break it, because it's in his thoughts, if I destroy their cores, they A, won't have to remember anything horrible that just happened, and B, they'll have a peaceful life without the DGP in their lives, so they can actually live normal lives and stuff like that, which is a good thing. But he's doing all this throughout anger. And this comes back down the road even crazier. Then we get to our next part of the game. Remember the stuff that I talked about in Kamen Rider Tycoon's Bujin sword form? This is where everything gets crazy. Because when he wished for everybody to come back that was involved with DGP, he didn't realize that he also resurrected criminals that were part of it. And because of that, the one criminal in particular that comes back and makes everybody's life a living hell does so by kidnapping Nago, because unfortunately she can't fight back because she doesn't have an ID core or a driver and access her rider powers. The person who was in charge of the JamVCR Grand Prix set it up because she's like, hey, I can kill two birds, one stone. I can make the father suffer the same thing that he lost years ago, and I can kill both of them. But, of course, the father was not playing those games. He visited Ukyo Ace, who gave him a driver, as well as his ID core, and a new buckle for his driver, Fantasy. So he does what every father does, and fights for the protection and safety of his child, and avenges his daughter. But in the process of the fight, he gets hurt badly and is put into the hospital. After Neon and her mother, as well as her father, make up and talk to each other about how they felt about the whole situation, about them not being a family, they finally decided to get back on the road where actually they can try to coexist as a family and try to build a new relationship with one another. But of course, because old girl is still petty, the admin of the JamVCR Grand Prix decided, fine, if I couldn't rely on the criminal, I'll do it myself. But Nago wasn't having any of it because she's like, I need to protect my found family, and I'll do what I have to. So she takes her father's bag, like his ID core, his driver, and his buckle. However, every ID core is made specifically for that person. So even if she had the ID core, it would not have worked normally. But Ukyo Ace at this point is a god, and he's able to hear Nago's wish to protect her family, and turns the ID core into her ID core. And when that happens, she has access to her powers again, as well as the power of Fantasy. Fantasy is actually a very powerful form too. I loved it. The only thing I hate about it is it doesn't have a matching lower half. It is what it is. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to pass the mic back to past Mephi so he can talk about the figure and show it off. And I accidentally stabbed myself in the thumb. So, there's that. And should be going back to past Mephi right about now. Couldn't help myself. Did you see me? And I have the knife. Okay. And of course, the usual same box in the box. In a box. Ladies, gentlemen, I present to you Kamen Rider Nago Fantasy. Yes, I actually stuck my thumb. It's not that bad. Anyway. Oh! I knew this new knife was going to be sharp. Because just look at the detail. Blue and the gold I love so much. Plus, with it being her actual, like, matching ID driver, oh, sorry, ID buckle, it actually looks really cool considering the fact that all the details actually just like line up. Although, I still think Beat makes her perfect matching part, but I thought I wasn't going to actually be able to get this figure. I was really proud of that because I missed the opportunity to pre-order it a while back, but no biggie. Okay, so he only comes with hands, which I don't have a problem with. Ta-da! Like she's wearing a wizard's cloak. Yep. You know what time it is? Because I don't feel like pulling her apart. Come on. And two. Fantasy is actually a very powerful form for her. It allows her to basically become intangible like a ghost. She can create constructs using magic, and her speed is also increased too. Ooh, the arms actually lift up too. Let's see, like, where the joints. Legs kind of remind me a little bit of her Beat form. If I wanted to, I could probably take her lower half off, swap it out with the Beat lower half. A bit of works. No ab crunch. Not a big one anyway because of the way the chest. I love the colors and the textures actually. See all the designs, like especially like hair. Love the fantasy buckle. It's more like when you pull it, it spins around. This is actually pretty chill of a figure. Except the coloring is actually like really wow for me. As the blue and gold just pop. Kind of reminds me of Espada's Arabian Night form. In fact, hold on.
1 minute later.
For Espada Arabian Nights, blue and the gold actually looks really good. Opinion. Anyway. So, comparison time. Beat Nago and Fantasy. I like the head sculpt is a little different. Actually, the coloring is because this is kind of like an orange gold. And this one looks a little bit brighter within the color scheme. I guess because they're trying to get it to match with the paint job of the actual armor itself. But yeah. Plus, I love the actual cat mouth attachment to it when she actually has her bottom half of her mask because of the armor. Beautiful spread! Thank you, Jobby the Hon. Actually, her leg articulation isn't bad. You can see, like, the joints and turn. I could make her touch it all the way to her back. Her arm, like I said, is a little limited because of it right around here. But this isn't bad. I could probably get some really good poses. Like the one she did when she first got the form, she got down on all fours like an actual cat just to proceed to beat that at. Can I get the form? She had I remember correctly, she had it like that. Fours. I'm sorry, seeing her grab old girl by her head, pull back, falling through the bridge so she can make her eat the bridge face first, I thought it was actually really cool. Plus her signature was sick too. She looks like a little sorceress. But yeah. Now I go fantasy. Keep calling her by her actual writer name instead of calling her by her real name. Hey guys, really appreciate you watching all the way to the end of the video. If you're new here, why don't you do me a huge favor and like, comment, subscribe, especially if you want new content from me that I drop every Friday and Saturday. But it would also help me a lot if you share my content around. Help me grow and figure out what I need to work on. But yeah, until then, you have a good one, and I really do appreciate you taking a step into my mind, even if it was for a short period of time. You have a good one. Cheers.